In this video, we'll use AutoCAD to finalize the house floor plan ready to present to our clients, or that be structural engineers or for building approval. Typically, this will be presented digitally and as a large scale plot print, so approximately A1 to A0 in size. As we have previously considered our layer setup, this will be rewarded with clear consideration for the intended audience viewing the overall design. So if it's going to the clients, potentially the first one we want to be applying is just the design without dimensions. Then if it's going to for building approval or anyone part of the construction phase, we want to make sure it's got all the dimensions that are required. Provided in this video is also a A3 template that we want to go through and be including. So check out the video description. This A3 template adheres to the VCAR standards, and so it will include the title block displayed around the outside. Please go through and download that, open it up and copy your design into this space. And we'll go through and do that together now. At the moment, I've just got a preview window shown, so it removes the grid and just looks presented as it would be as if it was a PDF. And we'll do that shortly. So this is the template to go through and download. And then what we want to do is just copy our design, Control C, and be pasting it into our design. So I'll just place it down there. Now, things you might have noticed is the dimensions have minimized. They haven't disappeared, they're still there. We just need to go through and do those dim styles once again. But getting our model ready for presentation, we're moving away from the model space. So in the model space is where you go through and be applying all the modeling. Now we're looking at presenting it. So we want to look at the layout, and there's always going to be layout 1 and layout 2. With this template, you'll also have 10 arc. So this is a setup that we want to go through and have, and it will have this title block in the bottom right. So layout 1 will be the whole view of the house. And we can go through and make these changes to the page setup. So we can see that's an A4 setup. And so you can go through and modify that if need be. Layout 2 is also an A4 setup. However, it's focusing on a set area. So sometimes you want to go through and be selecting and deleting these or adding additional ones. So with my other example, going back into here, you can see I've got the whole design, then I've got another little view of it highlighting a certain room that has a lot of detail. So going back to our original design in layout 2, if we want to add these views, we just type in MVIEW. And MVIEW, as it states, specify corner for viewport. So I can say we want it to be displayed within that space. Then what I can do is I can move around either the page, or I can go into paper mode and then move around our design. We can also be selecting select the outline. And we can also go through and crop that if need be. So be mindful of going into paper space or model space. To activate that without pressing the keys here, we can double click on the outside or double click on inside the page. And so that's whereby we can move things around. Double click on the outside and move things around. Now going back to 10 arc to go through and finalize our design. So we need to go through and just move our view around a bit more. Whoops. And be positioning it. Now at the moment it's not quite fitting, so I can zoom out, but I want to make sure the scale is correct. So it needs to be at 25 increments. So if I go 1 to 50, too big. If I go 1 to 100, too small. So I need to set up one at 1 to 75. I can do a custom and then add 1 to 75 and 1 to 75. Selecting OK and OK. Now setting that at 1 to 75, it will always be just above the 1 to 1. Now that's going to be set, so let's double click over here. So I'm no longer moving the scale, I'm just moving the page. In addition, you could see on that other one that I had, I've included an additional design here just to fill that, to fill the space and to provide greater clarity. Essentially, a floor plan is that. It's just providing great clarity to a very technical design. So it's essentially a diagram with those measurements. Now that's the other thing I've missed, is making sure these dimensions are a little bit clearer. So we go DIMSTLYE once again and make those changes. Watch the video from the dimensioning to make those changes if I'm going a bit fast for this. So under lines, we want to change, turn off the extensions, turn on fixed rate, make that 30 and 30. Symbols to oblique, arrow size to 50, and I think that's it. Yes. Then text height, we want it to be 100, and we want our offsets to be 50. Align with dimension lines, we've got that selected. We don't need either of those. Decimals, 0 precision, a period for that. That should all be okay. Closing that, that should update. That's a little bit more recognizable. Only a few more things. Now we just need to go through and complete the title block. So in selecting the title block, it should highlight in blue, and you can double click on the text or on the line, just not on any of these little points. So if I double click there, we can then go through and fill in that. So project name, let's call it the Smith Street project. And then apply that and continue on to the next one. Notice that that's filled in that there. Going back to my original design, whoops, modifying the scale, which we don't want, 1 to 75. Notice I've put in floor plan, the approval date and by myself, our class, the form, the address, the title of the project, my name, measurements in millimeters, and 1 to 75. The only thing else we need to include is the north symbol. I've opened that up as just a block, or I've Googled the block, and so that's on cadblocks.com, north symbol. And then copied that from there to be placing into my design, and just make sure it fits in the title block. Now we're ready to submit for presenting to our clients or getting it plotted or printed. So that can be completed just by selecting, we've got the plot on this side and we've got the publish on the other side. The other option is under the icon, going to, publish, print, export, so on and so forth. I tend to find this way works really well. And so then we, yes, going back to that one, sorry, wrong design. Going to print, and so under print we can do print to PDF anyway. So selecting the printer or print to PDF, we can see it's A3. We can do that print preview if we wish, which I had at the start. Really crucial things are plot transparencies if you've applied them, and plot object line weight is critical, so have that selected, and then quality selected as presentation, so it's a little bit better quality. Selecting OK, which will allow you to go through and save it, and then go through and submit it, please. Thanks very much.